us, but you haven't called. Call 1-833-77-SOLAR right now and join the 320 Solar Happy Customers Club for $0 down and no payments until 2022. We'll put the power back in your hands. 320 Solar. Power up.
We're here. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sports Talk 49 live on BucsReport.com. Always here every Monday and Friday at 3 o'clock. Monday, doing post-game. Friday, doing pre-game. And pre-game will be to the Carolina Panthers. Also, make sure to reach out there and don't be scared to try me out for Bucs Report Madden 21 Challenge. If you can beat me, I need somebody to beat the Panthers. If you beat me, you might get a prize. We'll see. Be live stream on the Bucs Report Twitter page at Bucs Report, and make sure to follow 65,000 on Facebook and all the other social media outlets here. If you're looking for me personally, you can find me at right here, Blake Anthony 49 on Twitter. I speak to everybody. I don't ignore anybody or anything that good, bad, or indifferent. It's fun to disagree, but you can find me right there at my Twitter handle, Blake Anthony 49. Make sure to check me out there, and I will get to you. So today I got Allison coming in later. We're going to talk Steelers and other NFL teams, and who else knows who drops in. We'll have the phone lines open. And I just got a whole bunch of goodies to go through today. But first and foremost, you know how I always go through status quo here. Make sure to check out all the other great shows today and through the week. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll just go through Mondays. You had Nick Citro on Twitter. Ask me anything. You got me at 3. Then, of course, you got the Sports Web wrapping up the night. Of course, doing recap and things like that, just like I'm doing right now, talking about the post game to the Bucs versus Saints after the Bucs take a surprising, not surprising, but it is a loss to the Saints in Sunday's game versus New Orleans in New Orleans with no fans. Bucs lose 34-23 on the road. Tom Brady's debut, et cetera, et cetera. I said, well, also, I guess I'll just go to the skim rundown of it. Tom Brady, of course, won 23 for 36, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick six, the other one, miscommunication by a wide receiver or quarterback. Who knows? Tom Brady also had a rushing touchdown. Fournette had 5 attempts for 5 yards. Ronald Jones, 17 carries for 66 yards, no touchdown. Scotty Miller had 1 carry for 6 yards. Mike Evans, 1 catch, 2 yards, touchdown. We'll get into that later. He wasn't really shut down, but on the stats, it looks that way, but he wasn't. Of course, Godwin was 6 receptions, 79 yards. Just not shocking. O.J. Howard, 4 for 36. The surpriser of the day was Rob Gronkowski not really getting involved because that was the game plan they had against him, which didn't surprise me, and I thought they would. Jason Pierre-Paul had the only sack of the day, almost had 2 on a pass interference penalty that was called on Jordan Whitehead deep down the middle. It should have been picked off, but gave the Saints a 1st and goal, and then later Kamara scores touchdown. So let me get to the comments here before we keep rolling on here. Stunning, what's going on? Yeah, it's Payne. Kareem, what's going on? Yeah, we'll talk. Russell, let's start off by cutting Donovan Smith. Trust me, there'll be the time for Donovan Smith here, especially with Arians' comments. Yesterday and today, definitely need to draft another tackle. I think everybody's on the same page here with that. First, kind of like to see what I see. Cleanup is mandatory, but the Bucs will have an intimidating year with a winning record. I mean, every team is going to put up a fight regardless, man. No matter who you play, there's no such thing as just a walkthrough game. I think being a Tampa fan or how long you follow the team, you will know that no win is certain. Bad part is just the talent. He's just lazy 2 or 3 times a game. Winston's ability to scramble covered him up for TB12 can't. I think we said that earlier in the year. I agree, Milo Jackson. Tom Brady is not going to be scrambling like that and shake off sacks like Winston was. While the Bucs not having a fast guy cut across the field on every play, it's play calling. We'll talk to that. We'll talk about that as well, Kareem. I got all types of goodies. So go on ahead, get your little snack and sit down. We got lots of stuff I got here. I got lots of goodies. All right. So first and foremost, we got the list up there. Bucs versus Saints recap. I just went into that. They held the Saints under 100 yards rushing, I believe 98 total. They did just about everything I said they should do on defense to stop the Saints. You don't allow inside the middle passes, and you make all the throws outside. Dean almost had a pick on an underthrown corner route, which I showed you guys last Friday. Those throws he struggles to make. On Jared Cook barely made just off the fingertips of Jamil Dean, which would have been a great interception. Unfortunately, it was caught by Cook on the sideline, and then Dean gave up a deep catch to Cook on the left sideline. Of course, Dean peeking in the backfield, thought he could get to the receiver fast enough. He was wrong, and Breeze was able to get an easy throw over his head. Yes, special teams was an issue as well. We'll address that here as well. So let's work our way through it, and we'll also get to the point of the breaking point. My breaking point, where I said where the game was officially, almost in the bag. That's what I'll do every week. It's called the breaking point. You know what I mean? All right. So what are we gonna start with here? Bruce Arians' comments. We'll talk about miscommunication and the tackles. We'll talk about the interception on Mike Evans. We'll talk about that right now.
And Mike Edwards decided to go backwards for a ball. And I mean, another thing you practice, and you never anticipate guys doing it in the heat of the battle.
Bruce, to see 2 interceptions from Tom Brady, I don't know how much you've been able to see those, but what happened on those 2 plays that led to the mistakes?
One was a miscommunication between he and Mike, and he thought Mike was going down the middle. It's a different coverage. Mike read it right, and he should have bent across his face, but Tom just overthrew it. And the other one was it was a screen pass with an outlet called, and he threw the outlet, and it was a pick 6. Bad decision.
Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, next is going to be.
There you have it, Bruce Arians. And by all that, make sure to check out that this show is powered by 320 Solar. Make sure to check them out, 320solar.com. Make sure you will not pay out of pocket till 2022. Make sure to go to 320solar.com and check that out. Also, mycannabiscard.com, mycannabiscard.com, the nation's fast-track largest medical marijuana doctors with over 2,500 state and licensed doctors across 32 states. Make sure to check them out, mycannabiscard.com. your only fast track cannabis clinics of America, as far as also guerrilla marketing. Also, we shot out there for the live viewing and live broadcast at the Deck Sports Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. We'll be out there again this Sunday again for the Panthers. It'll be awesome, giveaways and all that stuff. We'll have all of our, most of our BR guys there. If not, we'll be remote somewhere else. And it's a great time out there, great experience. Cedric is a great host, and he's just excited about football and the hometown team, Buccaneers, raised here and been rooting for them since '76. So it's great atmosphere if you're a Buc fan or not. It's a great atmosphere for everybody. Everybody's friendly and everybody had a great time. Plus the drinks and the wings are great there. So make sure you check that out if you got nothing going on. So it's all about miscommunication with Bruce Arians between Mike and Tom Brady. He originally said it was Tom's fault, but later changed the day. It was Mike Evans' fault. He read it wrong. It was cover 2, and he's supposed to go down the seam of the middle of the field, of course, splitting the safeties. Now, when you bring that up, that also reminds me of a play back in 2019 with Jameis Winston. Playing against the Tennessee Titans on the road as well. These are choice routes. They're choice routes, and it's by reading the defense. He didn't go into details of it, but that's what it is. It's choice routes, and you got to choose between there and the quarterback and the wide receiver at the same page. If you're not, you get an error throw like that, and you're not sure what's going on until later on when they look at the tape and the coaches explain it to you. And I'll show it to you. I called it a familiar INT. Byron Leftwich's play calling sometimes has been questionable. The situations, he calls a lot of the same plays and same situations. Check this out real quick.
Winston from his own end zone. A wobbler, and it's picked off by Malcolm Butler. Butler looking for blocking.
Again, of course, you guys, if you saw the same route, same miscommunication, wide receiver chose the wrong one. In the Tennessee one, wide receiver chose the wrong route. In the Saints one, same play call, same choice route. Same result, interception by the safety, easy, almost like catching a punt. Let me check out you guys' comments here. Hey, what's going on, Ms. Taylor? Good to see you guys down there at the Deck. Great seeing you guys out there. Okay, let me get back to it. We're talking about, same play calling, the same situation. Them guys, just two different quarterbacks and two different receivers, and they made the same mistake. Misread on the coverage, overthrown ball, picked off. 1 of 2. One was for a pick 6. On another familiar pick 6, throwing an out route to Justin Watson. The ball was severely thrown behind. Watson, I'm not sure if Watson really could have came back and possibly held Jenkins or not. But regardless, the ball's got to be either to Watson or out of bounds and not for a pick 6. And Brady knows that. He'll probably watch those 2 interceptions 1,000 times and figure out what he can do better next time. And if you're just tuning in, it's Sports Talk 49 live on BucsReport.com every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Today doing postgame, Friday doing pregame to Carolina Panthers, and we'll be doing the angles to victory, talking about what they need to do to win against the Panthers and tendencies that I see and hopefully the defensive coordinators see. And we'll also talk about the breaking point, the point that I thought where the game was officially in the bag for the opposing team. And we can beg to differ. And of course, you can call in at 727-475-1882. That's always fine. And I told you guys, you never know who might just drop in as a guy who sits in the cheap seats, but he doesn't prefer the expensive seats. He likes the cheap seats. So his name is Mr. Rick Hughes of the Cheap Seats Live here on Bucs Report. What's going on, brother?
Sorry about that. There we go. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Rick?
Doing all right.
What you want to jump in, or would you like me to continue? We were talking about the familiar plays between the interception on the misread and coverage between Mike Evans and Tom Brady, and it looked exactly identical. Matter of fact, it was the same play to Godwin and Jameis Winston, which was easily picked off by a safety.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
I sat there and thought, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. If the one thing that I did not expect to see was interceptions and pick sixes. Now, I don't know if you heard Bruce Arians today in his press conference right before you came on, but he was saying the first pick, he's kind of flipped it up now. He said the first pick was on Evans, that Evans could have continued his route. Yeah. And yesterday he was putting it on Brady. Go back film review, I guess you see a lot of things, but I am the thing that I am bothered by more than anything is the special teams stuff. That, I mean, honestly, that's the thing that bothers me more than anything. The defense was great. It was fantastic.
Yep. I agree. That's why I've got nothing on them today. I've got really nothing bad to say about them. They were on the field exceedingly too long later on in the game, and that is not on them.
Yeah. There's there's nothing you can really say that they did wrong. I mean, they held Michael Thomas to 3 catches for 17 yards or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you would have said you're going to hold Kamara and hold Michael Thomas like that, and that the total offensive output was going to be what it was, you'd think, oh man, we got this. And 17 points off of turnover.
Yep. What can go wrong will go wrong. That's exactly what happened in that game.
Well, I mean, and think about this. Let's say you don't have a right guard, I believe it was, that just olays on special teams and allows just to walk in on the field goal. And I mean, he practically blocked it with his waist. I mean, he was so far in there. I mean, it's if you get that field goal, okay, now it's 24 to, I mean, you add 3 there, and then you take away the pick 6. You won a ball game.
Absolutely. You can't give the defense points. Like Arians says, we're a gracious team. We like to spot people points.
But even if you give them the pick 6, if you don't make the mistake on the kickoff, if you take that away, the game, the Buccaneers played good enough to win. And that's the frustrating part. And for me, what I want to hear you talk about, and what I want to learn from you about, is I don't understand. It's easy to say, oh, it's coaching. How many coaches are you going to go through and it's still the same thing over and over and over? I mean, you have different players, you have different coaches. I don't get it.
Essentially, a little bit, they have different players. You've essentially kept the offensive line fully intact besides Tristan Wirfs. Yet we're still talking about the same issues with Donovan Smith. So, as you saw in my chat group, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Right.
Can't make an apple and orange. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen. Right. So, and you pay this orange or this apple, whatever you want to call them, or one wants to be called, $14 million to block premier pass rushers, not get beat by backup pass rushers.
Yeah, that was just horrifying. I don't.
Yeah, and I think
the same old story, man. I did a Google search on Donovan Smith's struggles. 7,100,000 and something thousand, things came up. And I mean, it's, man, you we've had this conversation. We've had this conversation. I mean, didn't we have this conversation for the last 4 years? I mean, I'm just so tired of this talk.
And Tom Brady is not Winston. He can't break out of those stacks and take off because Brady is much older and he doesn't have that wiggle in him like he used to. I mean, he can slide in the pocket, but you can't ask him to do that every single down. Right. And you got to look over your shoulder, thinking, not knowing if you're going to get strip sacked from behind. Because I see he wanted to launch some passes. He decided not to because he felt the pressure behind him. I don't know if you really noticed that, but your question was, you want to know if you keep changing players, like I was. You have and you haven't.
Not just last year, though. I'm talking. Yeah. Let's go over the last decade.
Yeah,
it's the same conversation.
Yeah,
over a decade, you've got what? How many different coaches? You've got how many different players?
Yeah,
we're having the same. I'm gonna censor myself. Conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of it.
It's like on repeat, right? And then you get a kicker who actually makes his kicks, and then you find a way to still hinder the kicker and let it get blocked.
Right.
You still find a way to screw the kicker, and you let a kick get blocked. The guy makes the kick.
You feel better about the kicker?
I mean,
you feel good? Yeah,
went straight down the middle.
That's new.
Whoa! I said we made it when you had to worry about it. So let's see if it continues. Hopefully these guys don't miss blocks and the kicker gets his leg hit and go have another knee injury or something crazy. Because the guy who missed the block was actually the rookie right tackle, Tristan Wirfs. Didn't block.
That who it was?
Yes, that's who it was. Tristan Wirfs missed the block. Guy came inside and got free reign and blocked it. There's only one way to block on. I don't know if you've ever played, or I know a lot of people in this group has played. The only thing you've done on special teams field goal block is you put your leg behind the guy to your left, his leg, and you just block down and you just hold on. That's all you do. And you let a guy inside of you. That's his gap. You don't worry about the guy to the right, because the guy to your right is the guy next. The guy
he's taking care of that gap. Right.
You worried about the guy to your right when you need to be worried about your guy that was to the left that actually blocked the kick. So,
you have Vita Vea with jumping off sides at the worst possible time you could possibly jump off sides, and it just becomes, I mean, it's a lack of discipline, and I get it, but I guess the sloppiness, there's a little bit of it I can forgive because there were no OTAs, no preseason games. There's a little bit of it that I can forgive. Not much.
But a lot of it's inexcusable. You're absolutely right. It's mental mistakes. A lot of it's just completely mental.
Yeah.
And you talk about the special team play. That's actually what I had for the breaking point. You like that? You like that photo of Tom Brady there? You like that?
There you go.
Looks like he's about to have a stroke right there, right?
Yeah.
that was actually Rick talking about Donovan Smith.
That's me when you. I try to stay positive. I do. I try to stay positive, and there's pretty much every area of this team I can look at right now and talk positively about, except for him. I'm done. I'm out of ideas. I'm out of it.
There's nothing left.
Nah.
And speaking of that Mike Edwards thing, let's see what Bruce Arians had to say about that. He's not one to hold his words.
Right. And then you never go backwards for football. You learn that shit in high school. And Mike Edwards decided to go backwards for a ball. And I mean, another thing you practice, and you never anticipate guys doing it in the heat of the battle.
No, you cannot. And he knows better. And I know exactly what it is. Mike Edwards got benched for Jordan Whitehead. He was on special teams, had a chance to get his name called, and you thought that was the time you were going to do it, going to try to make a play that you have no business making. And then the result of that cost your team the ball. And in my point, that was the breaking point to the game, because that put the Bucs down 3 scores late in the game. That I don't know where you saw where the breaking point was, but that was it. That was it.
I've got a question for you. You'll remember this. I can't remember if it was Quan or was it Levante David? There was a game. It was the last second, and he just had a stupid
Levante David.
Yeah, Levante David. That's what I thought it was.
Sideline.
Yeah, in his rookie year. That's exactly right. And every young players have that moment. You just saw Edwards have that moment. That won't happen again.
And the part about that, when he hit Geno out of bounds earlier in the game, he had faked like he was running out of bounds and ran down the sideline for about 7 more yards.
Right.
So he wanted to make sure he was actually out of bounds, but it was the wrong time. And it got an extra 15-yard penalty, and it led to a field goal by Nick Folk, ironically, who won the game in New York. And ultimately that game was near the end of Josh Freeman era as well. So a lot of things transpired from that Jets game from that moment.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, that to me, you saw Edwards, you saw that mistake from him, and it happens. You get that from players from time to time. A young player you're gonna have that moment, and he won't have that moment again.
Nope. Let me get through these other 2 things we talked about. I want you guys to hear BA's words on Donovan Smith, what he said yesterday, and then what he said today, and then some Mike Evans things about people getting shut down. I got Allison in the waiting room too. You can stay on, Rick. You can stay here with us and talk sports, NFL and the league. You ain't got to go anywhere.
I'll stay here for a few minutes. I'll stay here for a little bit.
So let's hear what BA said on the offensive tackles gameplay. We'll talk about yesterday, and then we'll talk about today.
And also, can you just speak to the performance of your offensive line, particularly your tackles? It looks like there was maybe some struggles at times there, some pressure got to Brady.
Yeah, I mean, he held the ball some. Again, we'll go back and watch the film, but once you get in those known passing situations, it's tough on them, but they got to do their job. So I'll go back and look at the film.
Period. Got to do your job.
Yep.
And then he said today about Donovan Smith was one of the worst performances he saw. I'm paraphrasing, but
That's almost word for word what he said. You're almost not paraphrasing.
And he said he got beat by a guy that should have been easily handled in the game, but now he didn't say this part, but you made him look pretty much like an all-star that game, the guy you were up against, and he reverted back to old habits. And I know a lot of people say he's lazy, but it's the same story. He does not want to move his feet. He is not aggressive in run game. There's some things you can and can't coach somebody, but you cannot coach heart in somebody. You cannot coach somebody being nasty. That cannot be taught. That's got to be in you, or it's not. Everybody want to give so much slack to Gerald McCoy being soft or whatever, but I never saw him just letting another person dominate him. He may wear Batman, he may have held Big Ben up and all this other stuff. That all is true. But I've just never seen a man let somebody go on social media, dog you out. And then I got another clip I need to show too. I'm glad I put it up there. And the reason, and that's the reason why things like this happen. You go let a guy go on social media, dog you out. You go out there and you just basically let him have his way with you because he does no resistance against Cam Jordan whatsoever. It's pathetic. And so you just let him have his way. And I know, Rick, you're biting your tongue or your lip over there because it's true.
Oh, I absolutely know it's true. I mean, and I am not a fan of Gerald McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna draw any kind of parallel here, McCoy's an all-star compared to what we're dealing with. I am so tired of talking about Donovan Smith year after year after year. It's the same freaking thing over and over, and I'm just listen. I'm not an expert like you are. Okay, I don't have the history you have to know these things. But I'm smart enough to see this. I've watched enough football to be able to look and go, what the heck are you doing, man? I mean, there's a point of, on my show, I had that clip from Waterboy. Oh no, we suck again. But it tends to, it's him. I mean, it's him. It's the same thing. I watch him. It's like, oh no, you suck again. And I mean, I'm just so tired of seeing it happen. And the one thing I'll say about this coaching staff, they started VH3 last year, right? They started Hargraves last year, basically said, put up or shut up. He didn't put up. They got him out.
Yep.
Same thing is going to happen with Donovan Smith.
Yep. And I think that there's no time to wait. No time to wait. And when you let a guy like Cam Jordan have his way, do whatever he wants, this stuff happens right here. That needs to be a fine, if not a suspension. But that's a guy who's not scared of any of you on the offensive line, and you let him have his way. He blatantly does that in front of all of you, and the only person that does anything about it is Ryan Jensen.
He talked before the game. He talked after the game. He talked during the game, obviously. But he has no fear of this offensive line.
And he literally talking about the phrase getting punched in the mouth. You literally got punched in the mouth. Literally punched in the mouth. And you did nothing about it.
Hey, I got a question for you about Mike Evans.
Go ahead.
Now, one thing that I am tired of with Mike Evans. Now, Mike Evans is phenomenal. This is not there's balance here, I guess, in my criticism that I'm about to make. But I'm tired of Mike Evans always. It's like I heard a phrase one time that I thought was hilarious: extended adolescence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a nice way to say, dude's got to grow up. Okay, I am tired of him always being in the mix when it comes to some sort of he's complaining. He's crying about a pass interference. He's complaining about this. He's if there's going to be a fight going on in general, he's the one in it. There's always something. People can say, I love that fire. No, it's a lack of discipline. It's a lack of discipline. You want the ball? Catch the damn ball. Okay? Not every play is a pass interference. And stop saying that it is. Now, you want to work the officials a little. I understand, a little. But it's annoying, and I can imagine if you're an official, you pay no attention to anything the guy says now.
No.
I mean, in the meantime, what do you have? You got Godwin out there who's going out about his business, doing what he's got to do, producing. And I mean, there's no fights with anybody. There's no anything. Look, New Orleans, for whatever reason, New Orleans has found a way to get in the head of the Buccaneers.
Yep.
And this, I think, has been under discussed. Before the game, Cam Jordan doing it. During the game, oh my gosh, my mind's going blank. What's his name on Evans?
Oh, Lattimore.
Lattimore. He's so deep in Evans' head, it's unbelievable. Evans has 2 games in his professional career with 0 receptions, both of them against Lattimore. And yesterday he had 1 reception. Lattimore is so in Evans' head that, I mean, I don't know. There's grow up, young man. I mean, I'm the old guy around here. I just look at it and say, seriously, why are you paying attention to that? I mean, and when he comes up and shoves you in the back, we got lucky that this wasn't both ways, because it probably should have been called both ways. Evans should have turned around. I understand you gotta stand up for yourself. I get that. You got to be a man about that situation. The guy shoves you in the back. Yeah, you're going to turn around and say something. You're going to turn around and get involved. But you don't punch the guy in the face, basically, and knock his helmet off. You don't do that. And it's just, isn't it every year there's always just the same whining from Evans? And he's supposedly a great guy off the field, very active in the community, but come on.
You know what it reminds me of? Mike's first sport before football is basketball. They complain for every penalty. They complain about calls all the time. It reminds me of basketball, and that's what his first sport is. Remember, he only played 1 year of high school football, then went on to Texas A&M. But that's what it reminds me of. And some of those, rightfully so, and some of those he's being aggressive too, and the corner's fighting back, and he has the rightful so to do so. As a matter of fact, I got Mike Evans's 2 PI clips right here. We could check out and talk about those.
Bruce, it looked like, I guess, Mike was well enough to play. I know he's been questionable. How much do you think that hamstring bothered him, if at all? And he was shut out today. He drew some important pass interference penalties, but he just had the 1 catch for the touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he had 100 yards. You get that many pass interference calls. I mean, those are yards. They're not catches. They don't go into stats. But he had a 100-yard game easily with just pass interference penalties. So he's going to catch those balls if you throw them, if they're not hanging all over him. So, yeah, I don't think Mike was bothered that much. We kind of try to watch him as much as we could.
And that's dead on. I mean, that's what I got nothing to add. Okay, see ya. I mean, it's I mean, that covers everything. Yeah, Evans was, I mean, look, they were pulling on the arms of our receivers all day. All day long. I mean, they did it to Scotty Miller, who almost made this fantastic 1-armed catch. They were doing the same thing, holding his other arm down, and yeah, that's how the game was played. They were physical. It got in the heads of only one wide receiver. Everybody else was out there doing their business, and Evans was out there screaming about it. What you do? They throw the flag. I get it. You stand up, you point. You say, "Give me the flag." You know. I get it, but not every play.
Not every play. He said, "Not up in here. Not up in here.
Well, not up in here." But it just, I get so tired of seeing it. It's like, come on, man.
Just play.
Yeah, play.
So we're going to hit the commercials real quick. I don't know if you want to hang around. We got Allison coming next. She's going to bring the flame and talking about Steelers and all NFL stuff. So you're more than welcome to stay if you want to, but we're going to hit the commercials.
I actually have to head out. So I will be catching the rest of your show in my car.
All right, Rick, Allison's waving bye to you. You can't see her, but she's waving bye. Rick, you want to tell everybody, you check your shows out?
Yeah, Sunday night, live from the cheap seats. Also powered up by 320 Solar. Live from the cheap seats is on 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock Sunday nights after the game. We talk football right here in the cheap seats. We're going to talk all about the Bucs game that day, any game you want to talk about, including the game that's on TV. That right at that moment, I got a monitor. I can follow it. We can talk about any of it. I love talking football. Come on. Be a part of my show. 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Sunday nights on Bucs Report.
All right, Rick. We'll check you out.
Thanks.
us, but you haven't called. Call 1-833-77-SOLAR right now and join the 320 Solar Happy Customers Club for $0 down and no payments until 2022. We'll put the power back in your hands. 320 Solar. Power up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back from that commercial break. Real quick, as always, Sports Talk 49 is always live on BucsReport.com right here, and it's also powered by 320 Solar. Make sure to check them out. Check out MadCannabisCard.com, and also make sure to go to the deck, Bar and Grill, Isa del Sol. Now, I've got my sister from another mister in the lobby waiting from USA Today, Steelers Wire, the one and only Killshot. Well, Killshot, who's that? Who's Killshot? And who would that be? Some kind of big guy? No. The least one you got to worry about. The quiet one in the corner. That's the one you got to worry about. The quiet one in the corner not saying nothing. It's none other than Allison Koelher, USA Today, Steelers Wire.
I've been called a lot of things, but I've never been called quiet. Thank you for having me on, Blake. I appreciate it, as always.
He said the fans love you. You know why I love you. So
yes.
How was your Sunday?
No, please explain. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, good times.
Yeah, always good times.
You know, the weekend was crazy with all these games. I guess it's football season, right?
Absolutely.
Crazy.
I said nobody out for COVID, none of the games. I was glad to hear that. No guys went out because of it. It was good. It was just football, and was not a lot of shenanigans going on with non-football issues. So that was great. Right.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, apparently the head of the NFLPA, sent a memo today to teams, just kind of reiterating the fact that not the players. I think a lot of people are confused or a lot of fans are confused because the players don't have to wear masks on the sidelines. They say it's recommended, but who's gonna be sweating their balls off and just huffing and puffing for all that time and want to go on the sidelines and put on a mask? You know what I mean? And plus they did test everybody who's even on the field has to test, negative for the coronavirus in order to be on the field. So if they don't, they're not on the field. So it's presumed that everybody on the field does not have COVID. These, as Kevin Seifert from ESPN pointed out today, and it's kind of logical, nothing's foolproof. You know what I mean? There could be somebody, maybe they tested negative and they're positive. You know what I mean? That could end up happening. Hopefully not. You know what I'm saying? I think because they had to test Saturday morning, they're not allowed, as far as I'm aware, they're not allowed into the facility on Mondays. So I guess we'll find out probably tomorrow exactly, what the numbers are, if it changed at all since the game. And, I feel really bad for Andy Reid. I guess he's got health issues. The guy, big surprise, he likes his cheeseburgers.
Love to eat. He will tell you that firsthand.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why he wore the shield versus the tight-fitting face mask. But as I was saying, the whole point was that Troy Vincent from the NFLPA today sent out a memo to the teams, like I said, reminding them what they need to do and to wear it on their note, be fully covered, all this jazz. So it's just the coaches and the coaches' staff and the water people and the medical people that have to wear masks on the sidelines. So just everybody's like, why aren't the players wearing one? That's not right. What's going on? You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, it's not really. Thankfully, they don't have to wear them on the sidelines. And hopefully they're, like I said, they're negative and we'll be good to go for week 2.
That's a great aspect. As always, he brings a different perspective. Yeah, was it going to look like after week 1? Or is it going to spike? So that's going to be interesting to see. But as you said, if everything is negative beforehand, why would it be positive afterhand? I guess we'll have later. Kind of makes sense there.
Right. Yeah. And a friend of mine said yesterday, well, why do they have to wear masks at all if they've tested negative for the virus? And it is just it's a crapshoot. You know what I mean? Somebody could have it, and so it's better to stay protected than to spread it. So
I agree.
Yes, good. How will we go on with the show then?
How will we go on?
How will we go on?
So what you got for me here with as far as out of Steelers camp, Steelers versus the Giants? What you got for us today?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. Yesterday was really cool because the Steelers weren't on. Even though I had to wait until tonight, or I have to wait until tonight to watch the game. It was nice because I had the NFL Sunday ticket. I've had it for years. It's worth every penny. It's really expensive. Don't get me wrong. It's like $300 for the year. It's really expensive. You get everything. You know what I'm saying? And since I'm a Steelers fan, my boyfriend supports the Falcons. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot.
It costs money, right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Well, as long as you got Blakey dollars, you're good. You can afford anything.
I think it's hilarious that you're in the center of that. Every time I see a name like that, I'm like, it's raining Blake. Dollars. But we should think of a name for that currency specifically.
We got to figure out something. Come on, catchy name.
Maybe one of
the comment section will come up with one.
Right, exactly. There you go. So it was really cool because I got to watch. I watched the Falcons. I support them for personal reasons.
Okay.
And so I had the Falcons up on the big TV. I had on my phone. I had the Browns Ravens game because I'm originally from Cleveland. I wanted to see the Browns get beat, and they did.
Oh God, that was an understatement.
Yeah, exactly. It was just in the corner. So I had that going, and then after the game, I had to work, like for employment reasons. You know what I'm saying? So I had to put in that work. But I have this in my office. I have this huge TV with one of those rainy thingies on the back. So I just kind of like had it on in the background while I was working away.
Right.
And it was good. I mean, I was bummed for the Bucs. You know what I mean? I was expecting them, goat versus goat light. You know what I mean?
Right.
Expecting it to be this shootout. You know what I mean? And the Saints just did not. The Saints weren't having that. So it was disappointing, but it was, as a Steelers fan, I love and hate Tom Brady. I have a love-hate relationship with Tom Brady.
Right.
Tom Brady is a very good-looking man who takes excellent care of himself. But where was I going with that? I don't even know. Tom Brady.
He's trying to get a date with Tom Brady. Is what you were saying?
No. I just mean, love-hate relationship. Thank you.
That's good.
I have a love-hate relationship. I hate him as a Steelers fan because the Steelers always lost him. They just couldn't, get her done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Brady. So I just like him, but I also want him to succeed. As a Buck, not as a Patriot. Being that he's not a Patriot anymore, I feel like I can cheer for Tom Brady and root him on and want him to have success. For the Bucs and for Bruce Arians and all that jazz. So, like I said, long story short, I was disappointed, that they couldn't pull it off. But there's always next week.
There is, and it's against the Panthers, a young new team with a new look, new coach, new quarterback. Well, new old quarterback from another team. Well, two teams pass. They got to really gauge where you're at, and that's good that you got that out the way earlier. You faced a team that's been together for many years with established quarterback and established head coach. I pretty much painted an easy formula for them to stop Drew Brees. They did most of it at the beginning of the game. The defense played pretty damn good, in my opinion. But later on in the game, with constant turnovers, putting your defense in short fields, and constantly going 3 and outs and not sustaining drives, the defense is going to eventually let up some plays down there. You can't keep asking them to hold your weight all the time. What you got there, Allison? Is that the special drink? Oh, Big Ben, I see you. Ben juice.
He's going to be coming tonight. I'm telling you, he's going to be putting it up there as much as he can.
That's a 300-yard night by Ben.
That would be nice. I haven't, you know what? So I'm such a homer. I have Ben almost every year in fantasy. He's not, and the good thing is I always pick somebody else that's gonna do well if he doesn't, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes he's on my bench, most times he's not. This week, I have Matt Ryan and Matt Ryan and Ben Roethlisberger in 2 leagues. And because I'm so amped for the game tonight, it's Monday night, you know what I mean? It's against the Giants. Ben's first game back, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to have him in there. But then again, Matt Ryan, as we know, threw for like 400 yards, I don't know. I can't remember, like 2 or 3 touchdowns. I don't think he had an interception. Like he had a 35-point game yesterday, fantasy-wise.
Right.
So I'm looking at these points. I'm watching my teams, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Right.
Like Ben Roethlisberger starting tonight, and I personally don't see why or that he will put up those kind of fantasy points or real life points. I don't know that he's going to have to, hopefully. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that the run game is solid tonight and that their defense is creating turnovers. And like I said, I just hope Ben does what he needs to do. I don't want to. He's too experienced to be calling him, a game manager.
Right.
As much tonight that he can do that, you know what I mean, to kind of get back into the swing of things, would be great. But the defense had issues. The Steelers defense had issues against the run last year.
Mm-hmm.
This is their first time facing Saquon Barkley. They only play every 4 years.
Correct.
So they haven't played Saquon Barkley. They haven't played Daniel Jones. They haven't played a plethora of new players who have come between 2016 and now.
Mm-hmm.
So, it'll be interesting to see how they do against Saquon and Daniel Jones. Man, he's a runner. I didn't really look, at his, every yard he did last year, but he had like 54 yards rushing in one game I was looking at. I can't remember particular who it was. I want to say maybe it was the Cowboys. But either way, it's like we've got to contain Saquon and Saquon.
Yep.
And Daniel Jones, and hopefully get some fumbles out of Jones, because he led the league last year in fumbles, 11, and he lost like 8 of them. So hopefully we can, the Steelers can do some of that tonight, because that would be excellent. Is pretty much how I see it.
I agree. A lot of people don't realize that about Daniel Jones. The only reason I know about Daniel Jones coming out of the draft is off all the Tar Heels, and they played Duke, and that was Daniel Jones at Duke, and Daniel Jones had quite some rushing phenomena in them games, and he has a lot more wheels than people thought. Tends to rely on his arm than his legs, but it's good to have legs when the arm is not available. It's going to be interesting.
I really say.
Yeah, I expect to see a lot of Mika coming down there around the box to maintain Saquon in the backfield as far as catching the ball ability. They're going to probably try to do that as much as they can. But the good part about the Steelers, and I say they'll have about 5 sacks this game, is that their offensive line play hasn't been too great. I know they have drafted and picked up free agents the past couple of years, speaking of Nate Soldier, and then drafting the left tackle out of Andrew Thomas, I believe, out of Georgia. So I didn't really this will be the first time getting to see him get live bullets against a team week 1 and see how he fares against the Steelers pass rush. So,
yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. I sort of feel bad for the Giants, because there's so many moving parts on that line. Like you said, I think there's two or three, like one guy starting who's been with the team for a while, and 2 other guys. Like you said, one is a rookie, and I think another one hasn't played very long for them or moved position.
I think it's Ramirez at guard. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, man, it's like this is a test. This is going to be a test for the Giants' offensive line coming right out of the gate. I mean, it could possibly be brutal for them.
Oh, yeah. I expect them to be in the box a lot. I expect them to be in a box a whole lot, sending a lot of blitzes his way, and then have a defender roaming in the middle of the field trying to get those hot routes that Jones is going to try to throw. So I expect to see Steeler football in this fashion, run the ball, and put pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. You made a good point earlier. Saquon.
Jones.
I'm just gonna keep saying something weird. Anyway, so Barkley, you made a good point, is that he's a dual threat. You know what I mean? He's not only does he churn out those yards on the ground, he's a freaking beast out of the backfield. So the Steelers really have to, they have to be on their toes tonight. But my main concern for the game is that they have a tendency the Steelers do have a tendency to play down to inferior opponents. I think it's too early to say whether the Giants are inferior, but I believe they are. You know what I mean? It's only one. They could come out and be like, no, Joe Judge, he's the man. You know what I mean? I don't believe for Joe Judge, and just kick the Steelers' ass. But I highly doubt that happen. but it's like, there's, it's like Tomlin's got all the experience, and they're, Joe Judge is a newbie, and so hopefully that'll play to their advantage.
Not just a newbie, a wide receiver coach of the Patriots. They have one of the worst position that year when he got a head coaching job in the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll add that to it versus very experienced, successful Mike Tomlin, who came from Tampa Bay with successful secondary and was won Super Bowls with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
yes, yeah. So it's gonna be a matchup for the ages tonight.
Yeah, okay.
Doubleheader, which is awesome. Like, the cool thing about a doubleheader is that not only is there 2 games of football on tonight, but the next game after the Steelers is the Broncos, who's their week 2 opponent. You know what I mean? So
nice. Spygate Part 2.
Right, exactly. Because I put some lists together about 5 concerns, and who the Steelers should be worried about, player wise, and things along those lines. Got a lot of work to do, man. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
It is. I mean, in a way, it's kind of a good thing because you get it right there. You don't even have to go back and watch GamePass or anything to watch the tape, because it's right there. You can right there. If there's an injury, you're like, bam, I ain't got to wait. Yep. It's already right there. You know what injury it is because they're going to zoom in on it and replay it. It's all right there in your face. And and you can go on with everything you need right there. And pretty much most of the work's done. You just got to write it down and then transfer it on paper.
Exactly. And what's cool is that because, Steelers Wire and myself are going to be covering this game for, tonight and tomorrow, and then we'll move on to Denver, just like Tom would. What was I? Yeah. So the whole, I don't even know where I was going with that.
That happens to me a lot. That's why I look at my notes on the computer.
Yeah.
We were talking about week 2. You have to do a lot of work.
Yeah, yes. So what I do is I record, I'm going to record the game. So if I ever have any questions about what happened and what went down, I could just refer back to the DVR, good old DVR.
Right.
And, it's going to be, if you can tell, I'm very excited. I'm so excited. I'm losing my train of thought mid-sentence. It's exciting.
It is. It's exciting. It's mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing, the emoji. Do you have the emoji? Can you bring it up?
You know what? I'm going to get that one up there. Now you maybe get one where it just blows up.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Or was it the Pinky and the Brain? He said, Brain, what are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Exactly. Oh, Pinky and the Brain. I love Pinky and the Brain.
That's throwback right there. You don't get that kind of stuff no more.
No. And I don't think we're probably the first podcast to ever bring it up. So I think, we're staying friend.
Yeah, we are. I don't think anybody else has mentioned Pinky and the Brain. Everybody's going to know that's going to be a trend. It's going to be hashtag Pinky and the Brain.
It's going to be trending on Twitter. Right now, Blake.
So what do you got score prediction for the game?
Oh, man. So I want to say it's going to be like 24-10. That's what I'm thinking. But could be lower scoring than that, it's just hard. It's hard to predict what the Steelers are going to do. I mean, they have Randy Fichtner is their offensive coordinator, but they brought in quarterbacks coach Matt Canada. Mm-hmm. He's been employed by several different colleges.
Right.
And I guess the Steelers were familiar with him because he coached at Penn State, and Penn State uses Steelers facilities for Penn State. Is it Penn State that he was at?
I believe so. Somewhere.
Yeah. So I think they share facilities with the Steelers, so they know of him, and he's super creative. Like, he's been an offensive coordinator at the college level, but never at the pros. But he's super creative. And not only is he brought in to coach the quarterbacks, and especially the younger ones, Ben doesn't need. Canada even said himself, Ben doesn't need much. If he needs something, he'll ask me. But other than that, I'm working with Mason Rudolph and Josh Dobbs and Doc Hodges. But he is definitely going to have some play or some say in terms of the play calling, and schemes that they draw up. So I think we're going to see. I think the Steelers are going to have a different look on offense this year, and it's a really, really exciting prospect.
Absolutely. And I like how you said that. He said, I'm not really here to coach Ben. I'm here to work with the young guys, and rightfully so. If he goes down again, it's the next man up. We're right back in 2019, so you guys better be ready. And that's his job, I think, to pretty much get him ready, since you didn't draft a quarterback higher, much like the Packers surprisingly did with Jordan Love.
We talked about that last week. That was something else.
Yep, I said it's almost the direction the Steelers should have went on ahead and got you a quarterback early if there was a guy out there you wanted just for protection.
Yeah. Well, I wrote an article over the summer called "The Case for the Steelers to Draft a Quarterback." And if anybody wants to read it, just go to Steelers Wire and type in my name in the search box, and you'll have all the different articles. But the particular article that I'm speaking of is "The Case for a Quarterback." And I really, I was like, man, you guys are like Mason Rudolph. Obviously, isn't it? He might be a Band-Aid or a stopgap. You know what I mean? But the Steelers really have to address the quarterback position via the draft, especially while Ben's there. You know what I mean? Like, get him in there. You know what I mean? Do an Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre thing. I mean, I know I didn't really, Brett Favre wasn't all too thrilled about it, but sitting behind and watching him do what he was doing for, like 2 years? 1 or 2 years, I think. Yeah. It's like, gosh, to have that would be super valuable because, the Steelers have a whole laundry list of crappy quarterbacks between Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger. And I would really hate for it to get to the point where the Steelers, Ben retires and the Steelers have to struggle at the quarterback position for however long.
And you could have set up earlier.
It's a quarterback. They need a franchise quarterback to take the franchise over when Ben retires. And, it's just super important, to do it as soon as possible.
How could you leave out the greatness of Tommy Maddox and Cordell Stewart?
They had moments. They did. Slash. I mean, Cordell is before his time. Am I right? Cordell, I'm telling you. And I looked up his stat. I mean, it's been a while, but I was surprised. I was like, huh.
Hey, they went a couple deep playoff runs with him. They just couldn't get over the hump with Slash, so they tried to get another quarterback and move him to wide receiver and move him around like a utility knife, but it didn't quite work out. And then Koelher finally got over the hump and got that Super Bowl.
Chin.
The chin.
Right now.
I thought for sure he would have took over in Carolina because I believe that's where they moved.
Yeah, he moved to Carolina. There was definitely, I don't know how far the conversations got. I'm sure that there were, some conversations, even though Bill was like, I'm not retiring or I'm not coming out of retirement. I like my gig here at CBS or wherever the heck he is. And I think he still lives there. He married so his wife passed away, unfortunately, like the season after he retired.
That's a shame.
He married some young rock and roll lead singer chick. All goth looking. I mean, she's very pretty, but she's very like rock and roll goth. Right. And it's like when I first read it, this was several years ago now, I was like, what? But okay, do your thing, Mr. Koelher. Do your thing.
Trying to spice it up. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying she's looking like the troll character in Trolls 2, the rock and roll one?
I did not see Trolls 2, but I can envision what you're putting down.
Queen Barb, I believe her name was.
Right, yeah. So, again, I just got way off track talking about Bill Koelher's wife. I don't even know. But, yeah, Carolina. Yeah, I really do think he was going to go there, but
I thought for sure.
What's that?
I thought for sure after Fox moved on.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah, we got through all that. I mean, what else you got going on out there? So your Sunday was good. You talked about you got the articles going out.
Yeah, man.
Prediction for the game.
I freaking rocked it yesterday, and I'm about to, when I get off of here with you, get back to work and pump out some more articles, and then sit back and watch the game.
That's right. Sit back, get yourself something to eat.
Yes.
Some articles. Get your stuff ready for the next week, and you'll be ready to rock and roll.
Wow. Yeah, you know how it is over there at Bucs Report.
You got to be always one step ahead, man, or you'll be behind.
Exactly.
No doubt. Too much happens day to day.
Yep.
But Allison, I'm not going to hold you much longer. Why don't you get on here and tell everybody where they can find you,
Okay. Yeah. So go to, as I suggested earlier, if you go to Steelers.com or SteelersWire.com. Don't go to Steelers.com because you'll have to like depth charts and all this news flying at you. Yeah, SteelersWire.com. Type in my name or just kind of browse. You know what I mean? Find my stuff. I also post my articles inconsistently on Twitter at SteelersWireAK. I'm more active on Facebook, which I think is at writer Allison Koelher. But I post my stuff there as well. So there's all kinds of places for you to find me, especially here on Blake's show once a week.
That's right, once a week, because she leaves the Friday stuff for me for the pregame. And it's cool because there's a lot to talk about, especially watching tape and doing all that stuff. I'm not sure if you caught that one for the Saints. I'm not sure if you caught the Saints one. Do you guys play this? Do you guys play the Saints?
No.
They don't play the Saints. Okay.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool. But you know what? We could in the Super Bowl.
It's possible.
Require them to win the division, and I don't want them to do that. But just saying, it could happen.
Anything is possible in NFL, especially COVID 2020.
Hashtag.
Yep. Hashtag COVID 2020. All right, Allison. Glad you came.
Yes, me too, man. It was great fun, as always, man.
Yeah, we'll see you next Monday, right?
Exactly. Heck yeah, man.
All right, Allison. You have a good day.
Yes. Bye, Bucs Report. Bye, Bucs Nation. Bye, all you guys. Bye, Blake.
She's just going to run out of there like that. Just like the dude. Rude. Just going to bust out of there like that. If you're just tuning in, it's Sports.49 live on BucsReport.com. Always powered by 320 Solar. Go to 320solar.com if you want to save on your bill till 2022. Now pay a dime. Just go there and it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. You go in there. Make sure always to go to mycannabiscard.com and check them out there at mycannabiscard.com, as well as Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America and the Deck Bar and Grill Isa del Sol. That's all I have to say that all at one time. Appreciate Rick Hughes coming on live from the cheap seats. He's always here giving his input on everything. He tries to learn X's and O's from me. He should have been there at the game. Philip Swagler was like, man, how do you see that stuff and call the plays out ahead of time and stuff like that? It's just it's known unknowns is what I call it. Known unknowns. Sometimes you can't really explain it. You kind of feel it when you're a player. You kind of see where things are supposed to go, and what other players are thinking in certain situations. And sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. Great players are more right than wrong, and some players are more wrong than right. Like Troy Polamalu, we're talking Steelers, was a great guesser of what an offense is trying to run and making plays out of it. And I'm kind of like that too. Just make guesses and off of watching tape and player tendencies and things like that. We got through everything. Also, I'll go back to this. I need somebody. If anybody want to win prizes and things like that, Madden 21 challenge against me. I'm playing somebody with the Carolina Panthers. We will live stream on Bucs Report's Twitter. Not Twitter. Twitch's page at Bucs Report. On Twitch, if you're a gamer, you just hit me on Twitter right here at this tag. Let me put it up for you. Let me get to that. Blake Anthony 49. Put hashtag Madden 21 challenge, and I'll know it's you trying to play against me. And we'll put that up here. Win, lose, or draw. I'll post the highlights of the game, just like I do for Madden's prediction of Bucs versus the Panthers, and we'll see how that goes. Madden was wrong. They had the Bucs winning 21-7 against the Saints on the road. Saints ended up winning in real life. So it's video games, a simulation. Who knows what'll happen? It's unbiased. Computer plays it. I have no say in it. Make sure to check out the other shows tonight. Peter Blake and the Sports Web at 9 p.m. Of course, you had Ask Me Anything with Ned Citro on Twitter earlier today. Phone lines are up. I said I will get out of here. If not, phone line is up, 727-475-1882. Always up. It should be up and running and fine. If not, I can send you guys a link too. Let me sure to get to these comments before we get out of here. Cordell was awesome. Yep, Rick Hughes, Donovan Smith. I know a lot of people just want to beat up on him, but as I said with Rick, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Smith is charming, soft. Misador. Yep, he is soft. Rasul has more than expressed his feelings for Donovan Smith as well as I have. It's almost like we've designated players to cause miscues. Shaking my head. You know what? You're right. It's almost you don't know who it was going to be. Your kicker performs, but you don't block, which makes the kicker not perform. So it's ultimately the kicker's fault. He made his kick and his extra point when he was asked to, Ryan Suckup. And then you got on the special teams where Mike Edwards wants to make a play when it's not his play to make. You let Mickens return the kick as he should, where he actually would have actually had a chance to return the kick. Saints made a great assumption, and Pooch kicked that and it played off. This is the same guy in Sean Payton who did an onside kick in the Super Bowl to get a victory. I mean, he takes those chances and he paid off right. He saw something wrong in that, and he took advantage of it. I saw this, Misador. We can move Jensen to guard and Marpet to tackle, and then move Donovan Smith to JUCO. Oh, but there's no center though. $14 million, Misador. It's just amazing, man. $14 million to block premier pass rushers, and he just cannot do it. He just cannot do it. And I only got one thing to say to that. I was not even really saying nothing to that. It's what Bruce Arians said. He had probably the easiest guy to block up there, and he did a poor job. Bruce Arians. There you have it. Your head coach said it. Don't know what Diamond Smith's going to say about it. He's probably hiding on Twitter somewhere, so I don't know what he's doing. But he's got to come out week 2. There's going to be some definite changes at that left tackle position. And we'll get out of here. You guys, I know it's during the daytime. Everybody's working, and I appreciate you guys checking me out today. Make sure to watch the rewatch and check me out Friday when I do the pregame to the Carolina Panthers, breaking down the angles to victory. Tape watch. I want to end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Thank you, guys. God bless. And as always, fire those cannons. Y'all be safe out there.
could be us, but you haven't called. Call 1-833-77-SOLAR right now and join the 320 Solar Happy Customers Club. For $0 down and no payments until 2022, we'll put the power back in your hands. 320 Solar. Power up.